Dr. Lisa Nezneski, owner of Healthy Mindful Self. I live and work here in Kissimmee, Florida. My website is www.lisa.nezneski.com. My phone number is 412-749-1070. And I'm able to serve people all over the U.S. because I primarily work remote on Zoom. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, which is a blue-collar area. Both of my grandfathers were coal miners. My father's side of the family emigrated. I'm a third-generation Ukrainian. And so there was a work ethic that was instilled in me. And my father was really concerned after his father passed away at a young age in his 50s. My grandmother was left without anything to support herself. So my dad made sure that both of his sisters and the three daughters that he had, myself included, all had professions. And you know, his primary concern was, if you need to support yourself, you're going to have a profession. So my dad actually is the one who picked me being a pharmacist. So I was sixth grade, 12 years old. And I picked the University of Pittsburgh. I picked my undergraduate school based on whether or not it had a marching band. So I was in the University of Pittsburgh marching band as one of their majorettes. And from there, of course, you know, life gets a little more serious after 5 years of pharmacy school. And I went on to the University of Cincinnati and got my doctorate there, and also did my residency at the University of Cincinnati Hospital. After that, I did 10 years of faculty work, clinical faculty for Duquesne University in Pittsburgh. And I decided at that point, I was helping small hospitals with clinical pharmacy services, that I could actually do that as a business. And I did that for the second 10 years of my career. And then of course, life takes turns, and I ended up needing to get a job with benefits really quickly. So I went back into West Penn Hospital, and I sort of call that my second residency because it was intensive work. I worked the night shift, and I was the only pharmacist on staff at night. So from there, I loved consulting and had always done consulting, that middle 10 years of consulting. So I went to work for Cardinal Health, and then quickly moved to Navigant, where I did supply chain pharmacy work. And then I worked for Deloitte Consulting. And now I have a consultant pharmacist position with McKesson. So what we're talking about today is my growing business that I intend to do full time. Well, round about 1997, Dr. Weil wrote a book, 8 Weeks to Optimum Health. And through that, I was getting a lot of questions about herbal medicine and combining it safely with medications. So I thought, you know, I had pharmacognosy, which is the study of plant-based medicine, when I was an undergrad. I understand this stuff, and I can certainly give more reliable advice than someone who maybe works in, not to disparage them, but if they work in a GNC or a vitamin shop, they certainly don't have the amount of education that I have. So I wanted to really give people reliable information that they could understand which of the products are best for them, as well as how to safely combine them. So my business at that time was called Healthy Self, and it was located in Sewickley, Pennsylvania. Yes, so Healthy Self opened in 1999, and once I came here to Florida, I decided to reinvigorate, and I added mindful to the title, as I became both a certified mindfulness meditation teacher, and I'm also certified in botanical medicine. So now the business is called Healthy Mindful Self, and it started in 2021 here in Florida. So as an integrative pharmacist, I help people integrate their medications safely with natural supplements. And I'm specifically looking for people who take 5 or more medications, because those more complex regimen are those that seem to have more difficulty. I also offer mindfulness meditation as a certified mindfulness meditation teacher. So specifically for stressed out working professionals, people like myself who've got to work and balance job life, home life, and other responsibilities, mindfulness can really help you move forward. I also teach a class called Get Your Health, Vitality, and Peace of Mind Back. That is my flagship program that takes you through all 7 steps as part of my book, 7 Mindful Questions. It takes you through each of the questions intensively so that transformation can happen. And I'm really excited about that program. It's guaranteed as well, so money back guaranteed. I'm the author of 3 books. Grounded in Chaos was the first book that I wrote. And, you know, you would think that someone who is highly educated and more or less at the top of their profession has their entire act together. Well, it happens. Life happens. So I wrote Grounded in Chaos as a way for myself to process the emotions in going through a painful separation, divorce, and several other major life changes that were happening simultaneously. So Grounded in Chaos really focuses in on that. 7 Mindful Questions, I actually started writing that earlier. I ended up in an emergency room in like 2015 where my heart rate was dropping and I had tremendous chest pain. Well, it turned out that my heart was fine. I was just super stressed out. I was managing 275 employees, and anyway, it was just so stressful of a life, and I began to question everything, and that's how 7 Mindful Questions came about. And then most recently, I wrote 7 Mindful Questions, the workbook, which is a companion to 7 Mindful Questions that helps you really get intensively into personal transformation and uses mindfulness as well as various techniques, mindfulness as a practice, but mindfulness as a change agent. So it's really very transformative. So I mentioned that I was a faculty member at Duquesne University, and I have always taught in various forms, and my flagship teaching is the program called Get Your Health, Vitality, and Peace of Mind Back in 14 days. That program consists of, it pulls together everything that I teach, including the How to Heal Yourself, Mindfulness Meditation 101, and it also, you get a free consultation as part of the program with me to integrate your medications with natural supplements. So beyond that, there's a swag box, and really, you know, there's so many good things about this program that I just absolutely love teaching. First of all, it takes you through the 7 Mindful Questions, the workbook, and those questions are deep searching questions that help you really understand your motivation and maybe why you keep falling into the same patterns, and it really is transformative. So I'm taking everything that I learned from my life experiences and bringing them together into this one program to really help people both learn mindfulness as a practice, but also as a change agent, a transformative change agent. So you stop making all those and repeating those same patterns that are self-destructive and really move beyond that. My current business location here in Florida is really integral in my long-range business plans. I want to conduct a retreat center. And when I was the senior administrator over the cancer center in one of the hospitals that I worked at, I found that it wasn't just the patient who had cancer, it was the entire family. And I thought about running a retreat just as a respite for those caregivers who are taking care of people that have cancer. And then sort of the idea grew once I became a mindfulness meditation teacher, that certainly I could teach mindfulness, I could teach the how to heal yourself, I could teach the get your health, vitality, and peace of mind back. All of these programs that I can offer right there in a retreat center that is open all year round, that isn't closed because of weather, and that location's here in Florida. Well, I mentioned that I have a website. It's www.lisanezneski.com. I do live meditations as well on Instagram and Facebook. So I have both an Instagram and Facebook page. I have a YouTube channel where all of my meditations for beginners are located, and several other interviews that I've done. So that's worth checking out. I also do spirit fairs, live fairs here in Florida. So any of those that are local to any of the major cities, you'll be able to find me live there. And Monday afternoons at 1 o'clock, I'm featured on Podcast Business News Network. And we talk about all kinds of subjects, medication, meditation, and everything in between. I have been able to reach my customers with technology using an online quiz, which is just amazing. So I've recorded videos and I ask questions where you can discover your biggest obstacle to good health. And that's on my website, www.lisanezneski.com/video quiz. And then you get personalized recommendations that are specific to how you answered the questions. So technology's been a key part, having a website, having a YouTube channel, and of course social media. So all of these things come together to help me get the word out and reach the people I'm meant to serve. One of the key parts of technology in my business is being able to reach customers all over the United States, and I work primarily on Zoom. So we can set up a meeting and have a conversation in depth using the technology that we all came to love during the pandemic. So that works extremely well for me. I also have my podcast, as I mentioned, that's on Podcast Business News Network. So technology has really helped me get the word out. You can always reach me on my website, where anyone searching for help with medication, stress management, you can find me on my website, www.lisanezneski.com. One of the biggest concerns I have are the number of less than reputable products that are out in the marketplace as natural supplements. I only recommend products that I have researched, and I do my own research on these products and being able to look at the primary literature. So I do an intensive search, just like I would for any medication. I do the same for natural supplements. So I am very concerned that people are taking products and they may not be the right thing for them. They may not be the right dose for them, and the product itself may not be of a good quality. So those are three of the top concerns that I have in making sure that people are getting the right natural supplement. I also, because I am a licensed, registered pharmacist, I do not recommend or use in my practice any Schedule II narcotics or Schedule II drugs like marijuana, CBD, etc. Those are things that by my licensure, I just don't get involved in those. I offer a 15-minute strategy session where we discuss whether or not I'm really the right person to help you. And in that session, we get an idea of your problems and whether or not my skill set matches your needs. And if your problem is not something that I currently feel comfortable tackling, I will refer you on to a network of people that I feel comfortable could potentially handle your issue better than I. So I don't take anything that's outside of my swim lane. I stay in my lane and I do the best that I can for you. Well, in the clinical pharmacy space, I have over 40 years of experience, and I can draw on all of that. But I also, not only do I have this traditional medical experience, not only do I have a traditional medical experience, I have the certification in mindfulness, and I am an active mindfulness practitioner myself. So I can help people on the body, mind, and spirit end of things because, it takes all of that to heal and move forward. So I am different. I have credentials in both the traditional medication and credentials in mindfulness, and it's hard to find somebody like me out there. My company name, Healthy Mindful Self, is the third iteration of this particular name. Every Christmas, for Christmas Eve, I would go to my friend Mary and Bob's house, and we did this for many, many years, and we'd sit around the table and have these discussions. And the year that I was starting Healthy Self, I said, okay, folks, we need to come up with a name for my business. So as we sat around the table, everybody had a little Post-it note, and Mary's sister, Aunt Chris, is the one who actually came up with the name. She wrote "Heal Thyself" on the Post-it note, and I still have it. Jesus said that in the Gospel of Luke, "Physician, heal thyself," and it resonated so much because it's healthy self as well. And then when I got the credential in mindfulness, I added healthy, mindful self. I mentioned Dr. Weil and his book, and I read all of his books, and I'm part of his newsletter. He's a good mentor for me. Dr. Mark Hyman, he's at the Integrative Medicine program at the Cleveland Clinic. I follow him. Dr. Tierra Lodog, she's wonderful. She is really a leading authority in herbal medicine. I specifically follow her for that information. I also, when Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay were alive, I followed them. I always said I wish Louise was my mother. I'm not currently mentoring anyone in particular, but through my teaching, through my mindfulness teaching, I have a group that I follow. So Jack Cornfield is one of my teachers there at Spirit Rock, and I've done a number of retreats with Jack and Sylvia Bornstein, Donald Rothberg. Those guys do a fabulous retreat around the winter solstice, and it's just so uplifting as the light is dark and then as the light turns. That's one of my favorite retreats that they do. And I want to give a shout out to my friends at Psychic Horizons in Boulder, Colorado. And Mary Bell Nyman was absolutely key in helping me through my Grounded in Chaos period where I was just suffering. And she taught me how to heal yourself. And since I've gotten the certification through their program, and I'm teaching how to heal yourself because it was just transformative for me. My success is due to hard work, determination, stick-to-itiveness, and I have 5 planets in Scorpio, so I'm kind of a little powerhouse. Pursuing your dreams is really important. When I have a saying on my desk that says, people usually quit when they're on the verge of success. So give it that extra effort. Keep going. If it's your dream, it will become a reality. The more you focus on the end point, the more it will actually manifest in your life. And if you can throw in some emotions, like how will you feel when you're finally at that point, that just adds that extra little bit to make sure that you can continue. And when you have bad days, when things aren't going right, you can always pull out that I'm on the way. It takes a lot of steps to get to the end point. And remind yourself the reason why you're doing it. And if you know what your why is, if you understand the reason you're actually wanting this particular dream for yourself, that will help you through those bad days. Now, on the other hand, when you start running into problem after problem, like for example, you want to buy something and you put a credit card number in and it's declined and the next one's declined, and you know you have the money, it's just something's goofy going on. Or, it's really hard to get something done. You might want to step back and think, maybe this particular thing that I want for myself isn't right for me, or isn't right for me at this time. So be careful of those red flags that show up where things become difficult, and take that step back, use your mindfulness training, take a deep breath, and really figure out whether or not it is the right thing for you. My company's unique because I blend the traditional and alternative medicine, and I also include a spiritual practice. It's a blend of body, mind, and spirit. I think of my business goals as being much broader than just business. The first business goal would be I would love to serve one patient, at least, a minimum of one person in every state in the United States, since I work remotely. But it's really important to know that when you're setting goals, to have a balanced approach to setting goals. So you'll have business or work-life goals, you'll have relationship goals, health goals, financial goals. All of these, if they are balanced, your life will really be focused on what matters most to you. So rather than just having business goals, I try to blend everything so that my life is balanced. I wrote about this in a lot of detail in 7 Mindful Questions. And also there's exercises in 7 Mindful Questions, the workbook, that really help you reflect on whether or not your life is balanced. So it's important to have goals, but to what expense? If you're offered a job that requires you to work on weekends and you never get to see your family, is it really worth that? So goals are important to have, but balance, I believe, is more important. I'm really interested in helping people that are motivated to get better. So finding people who I can serve, particularly in the Get Your Health, Vitality, and Peace of Mind program back, because it really is transformative. And if you are ready to make a change in your life, this is the right program for you, because it will blend body, mind, and spirit. In 5 years' time, I expect Healthy Mindful Self to be wildly successful, be conducting retreats that are transformative, have a huge amount of followers that want to make that change in their life and have been through the Get Your Health, Vitality, and Peace of Mind Back program and are alumni of that program and are wanting to branch it out and teach it themselves. So I foresee nothing but good things in 5 years. I'm extremely passionate about helping people transform. I went through some really rough times. I lost my house, my marriage of 34 years, where I was living. I moved 5 times in less than 5 years. And I lived in an RV for a number of years, and I kind of smile now, but I would never go back to that again. So even seemingly someone who has their life all together on the outside can be in tremendous turmoil on the inside. And using the techniques of mindfulness were extremely therapeutic. Learning the techniques on how to heal myself were just, I've said this before, it was transformative. It got me from a place of being so empty inside to really being so abundant now. And I wrote about that in Grounded in Chaos. And I want people to know that you are never alone when you're going through these kinds of things. There are others, part of the human condition, that are going through the very same kinds of things. And, you know, in 7 Mindful Questions, I start off telling the story where I woke up with tremendous chest pain. And from that, I went to the emergency room, and every time I would have this pain, my heart rate would drop. And when you're looking at the monitor, the oxygen was fine, the EKG looked normal, the blood pressure was sort of wavering, but that wasn't as important. But every time I had the chest pain, my pulse would drop. My pulse got down to 28. So I looked up at my significant other at the time and said, this could be it. I could be checking out. I don't want to miss my life. And that's really, the transformation that I began to question absolutely everything in my life at that point. And that's where 7 Mindful Questions came from. And today my life is significantly different and significantly better. And I don't mind that I've been through all of those things. I don't really care that I've been through all of those things. It's that I've learned so much about myself and things that I've been ignoring, particularly my body. My body was so stressed and I just kept ignoring it. And that's what ended up in the emergency room. So when you go through something like that, the message is nothing is different until you are. And so that's the key message that I take away from writing 7 Mindful Questions, is that you've got to pay attention to all 3, body, mind, spirit, for a healthy, balanced life. I absolutely love working one-on-one with people. It is so exciting for me to see the light go on, the transformation occur in real time. So when we're working on Zoom, even though we might not be in the same room, we're really able to connect deeply and move you forward towards your goals. And that motivates me to just keep going. That it's so exciting to see when someone really makes a long-lasting change that improves their life and focuses on what matters to them. I think my work style is very eclectic because I'm pulling from traditional medicine, from the spiritual work that I've done, and I have a toolkit of things that I can rely on to pull those into the session when I'm working with someone. I use checklists to keep myself on task because simultaneously I might be writing, I might be working on research for a particular customer, I might have interviews with other customers. So I use a checklist, and I do that every single day. So every day when I wake up, I clear my energy before I get out of bed. So in other words, I do a lot of spiritual work while I'm sleeping, apparently. So I use an exercise to clear every one of my chakras before my feet even hit the floor. I set my intentions for the day, and I begin to think about how I want to show up for the day. How is my personal presence, being in the moment, going to be for that particular day? So then, of course, I've got a dog and a couple of rescue cats around, so I'm taking care of the animals, and then I start my work typically quite early in the morning and spend a couple hours. I have a banner here in this room that's hanging up over the window, and it's SITBB. It has little flags on it, and the S is 6 impossible things before breakfast. So I'm actually working very hard when my mind is fresh throughout the day, and then I'll work out, meditate, take a shower, and then I begin either customer meetings and things of that nature. I have on my calendar at 11 o'clock every day a break. I call it a mindfulness break, where I'll say my prayers for the day, I'll take the dog for a walk, and just disconnect for a little while from any of the work that I've been doing. And then typically after that break, I run the 7 mindful questions in sequence so that I can plan the rest of my day and focus on what matters most. I'm in bed really early. You know, most nights I'm asleep by 9 o'clock, so I'm in bed a couple of hours before that, just reading, turning off any of the blue lights, you know, unplugging from all the devices, not watching TV. And I found that my sleep is much more restful if I keep to that sleep hygiene routine. I've actually done a video on that part. It's out on my YouTube channel, but certainly that's part, I definitely practice what I preach. So I have an interesting story of how I give back to the community. When I was a very, very poor resident in Cincinnati, I would park at the VA center and walk up the hill to the pharmacy school, and it was free parking there. And for the 2 years that I was there, I felt incredibly guilty that I was taking a parking spot away from a disabled veteran. So since that time, I have donated to the VA in Cincinnati, Ohio. They have a tremendously large disabled veterans program located there in Cincinnati. I feel like I've paid back every year that I took a veterans parking, and I support them very much. I also support 3 children through Compassion International, one of my key personal, I feel so impassioned, I guess is a good word. I feel so committed to supporting the work of Compassion International. So I picked 3 children that all have the same birth date as myself, and I support them every month with a donation. This business means so much to me personally. I'm so passionate about helping the people that I was brought here on this earth that I'm meant to serve. People who are struggling with medications, who are on what I call the medication merry-go-round, where they go to the doctor, they try to explain their symptoms. The doctor doesn't quite understand what they're saying. They have symptoms the doctor doesn't understand. And those are things that I'm actually pretty good at figuring out, what those particular symptoms might be. And of course, if it's not in my wheelhouse, I certainly won't go there. But nevertheless, my point is that people are suffering, that they're in chaos. They're spending so much time just going to doctors, they're asking questions, coming out with more questions than they even had when they went in. And that we haven't done our best. And I think I am here to help the next generation of practitioners evolve into more compassionate, more understanding, more thoughtful, less driven by what are called RVUs, you know, how many particular 15-minute blocks of seeing patients every day, less driven by that. So I'm really, really passionate about helping people with the right advice, because, you know, you can find a lot of snake oil salesmen out there, or less than reputable natural supplement providers. I really just want what's best for you. And when I work with someone, I give them back the agency. I'll give them a number of alternatives that I feel are equally successful. And when I work with them, they are in the driver's seat. They get to choose which product fits their lifestyle the most. And you know, the pandemic, I think, has taught us that we've reprioritized what really matters most to us, and working on stress, being present through mindfulness really will enhance the quality of your life, because like me, you don't want to miss your life. And that's really what I've learned, is that I am here to serve those people who have had similar life experiences, you know, have gone through things with either divorce or separation or financial loss, lost their home, or ended up in the emergency room through stress. Those are the people that I am absolutely passionate about helping. You know, if money was no object, if place was no object, I would be running a retreat center right now. And in that retreat center, I'd be wildly successfully looking for the people who my marketing budget would be unlimited, where I could look for the right people that I could help to bring them into a transformative experience. I'd be running a TV show where I'd be talking about the transformation, not just my own personal transformation, but the transformation that I've been able to bring about with the Get Your Health, Vitality, and Peace of Mind Back program. So I would be writing more. I would have 3 more books at least that I've partially written. I'd hire an assistant. I'd be giving back to the community. I would be just so secure in the way that I'm helping people in if money were no object. And it would just be transformational in so many ways, helping so many people, employing people, transforming lives through the retreats, having people really enjoy and focus on what matters most to them. And that's what I'm passionate about. And that's my dream for this business. Brand new is 7 Mindful Questions, the masterclass. And if you want to dip your toe into the 7 Mindful Questions and figure out whether or not that particular toolkit is right for you, I have recorded 7 Mindful Questions masterclass. It's about an hour. It's in 15-minute or so bite-sized chunks where you can learn at your own pace, in your own time, and it's available on my website.